The wise have said a person cannot progress without realizing they are two. The meaning of this saying is that a person must know they also have an ego. In other words, they should not assume that every voice echoing inside them belongs to themselves. For instance, imagine a friend who eats a lot and is overweight. If we were to ask them, wouldn't you like to eat less and have an ideal weight? They would say, what would they say? I would love to, but I can't control myself when I see food. I crave food. Then we would ask that friend, which one are you? Which one are you? The person who wants to eat less and have an ideal weight, or the one who craves food? Understand from this, my dear, that thing you call craving is not you. That is your ego. Imagine a student sitting at the study desk, giving themselves a pep talk. They say, I need to study, but on the other hand, I want to go out and hang out with my friends. This student needs to make this distinction well. The desire to go out is the ego, and the one sitting at the desk wanting to study is the true self. If they do this, things will become easier for them. Because a person can fight with everyone except themselves. A person cannot fight with themselves, but they can fight with everyone else. Therefore, knowing that they are two makes things easier, simplifies the struggle. This is similar to the following. Think of the desires and cravings of the ego, not the rightful desires, but the excessive ones, as a kind of illness. Now, sometimes a person who has contracted an illness needs to accept that illness. If they consider it not as an illness, but as something innate, natural, they won't enter the process of treating it or fighting against it. But once they define it as an illness, they become vigilant against it and start to fight it. Similarly, if you consider that ego as yourself and accept it as your innate nature, it becomes difficult to fight against it. But if you accept it as something separate from yourself, if you consider it as one side and yourself as another, then you start to filter all its desires and wishes. You begin to discipline it as if you are disciplining a small child. Then that task becomes easier for you. However, if you consider it as yourself, it is difficult for a person to fight against themselves.